I'm Meteorologist John Dawson. This is the Fox 26 YouTube tropical forecast, giving you that daily update, even on the weekends here, as this is for Saturday. We'll take a look at what's happening. And yes, definitely some concerns for the folks who are in the northeast portions of the U.S., as Henri is definitely taking its sights on the New England area. That's going to be the most immediate concern. But we can't forget about Grace either. Grace, about to be forgettable, though, as it's beginning to fall apart. It made its landfall earlier in the morning hours, and it is, again, sort of on its way out as far as needing to be tracked by as a tropical system. But let's jump into Henri so that we can sort of get the latest on what's happening, whereas we are switching now and able to use our radar imagery and not just our satellite imagery as these bands. So there's more bands that are out a little bit further here, but we're able to really see that with the radar, because remember, those are positioned along the coast and can reach out and see what's happening. And we've got a hurricane right now, maximum sustained winds around 75 miles an hour, and we're going to continue to watch Henri as it moves right towards Connecticut. And you will see the red shading here indicating the hurricane warning that has been in place. That's basically for about Long Island up to the east, and Connecticut, again, is kind of the center of where it looks like Henri is going to want to make its landfall. So all of this part of the country, though, definitely needs to be concerned, because while right on the coast and where we see the hurricane warning, we're definitely going to be looking for that deadly storm surge, also the potentially dangerous winds that can cause quite a bit of damage. And then the rainfall is going to definitely be another issue overall for a bigger area. Now, as the rainfall, it looks to be anywhere from that 3 to 6 inches of rain, isolated areas up to 10 inches. And we'll just sort of have to wait as we get closer to see, but you can already see a few of those rain bands making their way along the coast. And then the storm surge, also something, as we've talked about, just the coastal areas, maybe as much as a 6-foot storm surge. So that's going to be something that is monitored closely for those folks. And Henri itself is not super organized at the moment, which is good news. We don't want it to become too organized, because then it becomes powerful more quickly. And at the moment, we'll look at the forecast track, and you can see, first of all, look at the position and look at all of the rain that's associated with that. Most of that stormier weather. It's not all around it like you would want to see for a healthier system. So this is going to be a good thing right now for the folks in the New England area as it begins to make its landfall. Just a quick reminder, we are all talking about 4 p.m. on Saturday as far as our information that we're using on this update. 75-mile-an-hour winds are the max winds, going to keep it at a Category 1 hurricane, and then quickly, of course, right after it makes landfall, becoming a tropical storm. And there's the potential it can make landfall as a tropical storm. They're going to have a little bit of some shear, I believe, and just sort of a kind of a bit of a collision with a frontal system also that's going to really kind of make it fall apart, hopefully. And when I say fall apart, not strengthen. Let's say not strengthen as it begins to make its landfall. You'll notice the time on this is going to be Sunday in the afternoon. Max winds still at 70 miles an hour. That can definitely cause some damage, and that storm surge is definitely going to be there as well. And then looking for the rain to continue afterwards, that's what's going to be a concern for a larger area, is the rainfall that's going to be created by Hurricane Henri, or as it falls apart, a depression or a post-tropical cyclone sort of a situation. So that's kind of what we're looking at with Henri. Definitely going to need to be watched quite closely. If you're here in the Houston area, we're definitely feeling the effects of the high pressure in the upper levels of the atmosphere. Our water vapor imagery showing that this is going to keep our weekend very, very hot. We've talked about all the steering current that it creates and how it's been impacting Grace and keeping it far down in the southern portions of the Gulf of Mexico. And the National Hurricane Center has now issued its last advisory on Grace. So now we're referring this to as the remnants of Grace. Made landfall earlier on Saturday morning as a hurricane, and then as it moved through the land, quickly breaking down across Mexico and now losing some of its tropical characteristics. So the maximum sustained winds down to 25 miles an hour, but still could continue to bring some rain as it moves over to the west coast of Mexico. So again, this is a system that might not be tropical, but still definitely could be a rainmaker and impact definitely portions of that country. So just kind of want to remind you a little bit. We talked about this at the beginning of hurricane season, how we talk about an average season. For a long time, we've always referred to that as 12, 6, and 3 as far as what the numbers were. And as we moved to the next 10 years, we're now using 1991 to 2020 as the average. And when you look at those averages, everything bumps up a little bit. So now with those more active seasons that we've seen, when we talk about an average season, what we would expect to see, normally it's 14 storms, 7 hurricanes, and 3 major hurricanes. So we are not to that point yet, but we're continuing to stay active, as we've talked about on these tropical updates. We're just now really getting to the peak of hurricane season from about August the 20th through around October the 10th or so for the entire Atlantic basin that we're looking at. So we've covered Henri, we've talked about Grace, and then there's one other area that the Hurricane Center is watching, and this is pretty slim chances right now, but we're not going to rule that out, as it's going to try to continue to move into the center portions of the Atlantic in this particular area of the tropical wave that we're looking at as we've watched those storms continuing to roll off Africa, and some of those get a little bit more organized, and it looks like on some of our modeling that this one wants to kind of hold itself together, perhaps. We'll continue to keep an eye on it, keep you updated as well. A reminder, the Fox 26 weather app is a great way anytime that you can look at that information. Maybe you don't have YouTube available to you. You could pick up your smartphone there, punch in your favorite app store, find the download, get that on your phone. And then, of course, while you've got your smartphone, it'd be great to connect with me as well. I'm at John Dawson, Fox 26. Definitely using Twitter and Facebook to keep you updated on the weather. Instagram I like to do a little bit more fun with, and also with the hurricane gear test. So make sure that you get a chance to kind of find those and connect. But for sure, count that weather app from Fox 26 as part of your hurricane preparations, because while things have been quiet around here as far as the tropics are concerned, we do know that something could pop up, and we want to make sure you're ready. These are always been good reminders to keep your plans ready for the Houston area. We'll go ahead and keep you updated again tomorrow. This is a daily update. Appreciate you checking in on this video.